as the race gets underway, and it's not a good start from Smiles in the 46 car. He's plunging back down the order. It's Oak Richardson that makes the best of the starts. Then Michael Pearce in the green car is into second place, and it's Matt Hallam is that, 44 possibly in third. There's one spearing off through the gravel trap. I think it will stay out of the barrier. Was that Jordan Johnson actually? Possibly so. We'll pick up on that in a minute when we see who perhaps doesn't come through, if they're still stranded in there at the end of the lap. But no, they have got out of the gravel trap now, that car that went off. So down through Graham Hill Bend they go for the first time, and along the Cooper Straight it was Oak Richardson in the blue car that was leading from Michael Pearce, and it still is as they stream 34 cars down the Cooper Straight into Surtees and McLaren towards the end of the first lap of this race for these Mark I Roadsters from the late 1980s and early 1990s. 35 years old these cars now, and they've been racing in the UK for probably the thick end of 20 years now. Leaders then on to the second lap then. Richardson leading by 0.7 of a second from Pearce. It was Matt Hallam third, Roger Chesley fourth. Ben Hansey made up 7 places to fifth, and Tom Holland dropped 1 place to 6th in the number 74 car. There he is, the red BS Motorsport car, just trying to rub his way past Ben Hansey as they make their way out of the hairpin at Druids for the second time. So there's Richardson heading along the straight towards Surtees. And this battle for second between Hallam, 4 seasons in the Castle Combe Formula Ford Championship, but he's been racing in the MX5s now for, I think this is his 3rd season. And Roger Chesley, who we've seen out in MX5s in the past, but I think possibly the first time with 5 Club. And they're about to complete the second lap of the race then. And that time through, it's Pearce that did the best lap on the first flying lap of 59.013 for him. It was 0.3 faster than Oak Richardson. Lap record for these cars is a 57.44 at this circuit, as we've got Chesno up the inside of Hallam for 3rd place at Druids. And he might yet get that done on the exit of the corner. Yes, he has. Chesno in the 105 car goes up to 3rd place. Hallam down to 4th, and he's got Ben Hansey right behind him now. Yeah,
it's interesting, isn't it, that the teenager Ben Smiles didn't get away particularly well from the start. Maybe no surprise among very experienced rivals, but he's gradually picking his way back up the order, and certainly has the pace in him, and just a question of settling in and then charging back in that BS car.
Yeah, it's that white car with the purple number plate on the rear, isn't it? At the rear of this group that we need to watch out for. That's James Smiles.
Ben Smiles.
Ben Smiles, I should say.
Yeah. One BS having to go to another, really.
Absolutely. The 2 Bens. And we've got Ben Hansey ahead as well on circuit. I've been short of Bens in this championship. So that's Chesno ahead of Hallam, ahead of Hansey, and then it's Holland, who's sometime GT racer as well, and Smiles in 7th, and Samuel Gormer it is in the 128 car that is in 8th position. And it's 172, or 72 I should say, that was Matt Short. As there is the 40 car of Hansey. This is going to be for 4th place. He takes it away from Matt Hallam now. Hansey now involved in running the championship, but he's returned to the cockpit for this one, and he's been a champion in the past in 2019 and 2020 as Ben Hansey. So he is no mug at all, had plenty of wins over the seasons. And he's moved his way up into 4th position now. Hallam trying to come back at him though and take possibly Holland with him. Smiles is right there as well. Hansey seems to be allowing the top 3 to get away here as these 4 battle markers.
Yeah, that's up the inside, isn't it, for Ben Smiles there. He can't quite make it stick into the hairpin. You have to brake super late on the kind of the outside line if he was to get round the red car of 74, which is Holland.
Yep, there is Holland, and yep, Holland now has got ahead of Hallam as well, who's very crossed up there, trying to keep the car more or less pointing in the right direction. Smiles, if anything, just backs out of that to avoid an incident, really, probably quite wisely. and he survives in 7th place with a gap back to Gormer in 8th. Andy Bailey up to 9th place, I noticed on the previous lap, getting ahead of the 848 car of Matt Crozier.
Tap on the bumper there, and that's allowed Ben Smiles right back into that one. Richardson still leads from the green car of Pierce, then Chesno in 3rd, Hansey 4th, and the Holland and Hallam and Smiles tussle.
Hallam was a winner at Silverstone last season in a remarkable finish to a race where basically everyone fell over one another in the final sequence of corners, and he was the one that emerged in front, having not been ahead at any other point in the race as far as I remember.
You only got to be ahead once.
Exactly. He's kicking up a bit of the dust there as he's trying to keep Smiles behind him here. Smiles, who started on the front row, but back to 7th now, and is hanging
off that one.
That's Gormer, I think, in the 128 car. Sam Gormer, the drive from Ipswich. He's pretty just had a tag on the back there, and that's dislodged it, and he could do with it falling off altogether, really, now. Otherwise, he'll get a black and orange flag from the officials to tell him to come to the pits to get it ripped off.
I think that was Smiles around the outside, wasn't it? In the background.
I think you're right. I think he has got through. Yeah.
Yeah, he's made it.
So 46 now ahead of 44. As Holland here is challenging Hansey. This is for 4th position. Holland in the red car with the white checkered stripe down it. There's the race leader, though, is into the back markers, I think, is Oak Richardson. There was a car between himself and Michael Pearce.
That adds another level of interest to the race.
Not always a lot of traffic in the 5 club contests because they're all evenly matched cars, of course, the same specification, 1.6 litre MX5 Mark 1. Someone's been off through the dust. You can see that from the dust that's been kicked up. And there's a yellow flag. Oh, yes, that's because of the bumper. I wonder if it was the bumper of Samuel Gormer that's come off at Graham Hill Bend. But it's in the road, and there we can see now. Hansey has got Holland behind him, and Holland is about to be passed here by Smiles, I think, as Smiles comes up the inside into Druids in the 46 BS Motorsport car. The 2 BS Motorsport cars absolutely together, but Smiles has got through.
Gets a little bit out of shape over the curb on the exit, but got his foot back down once he was on the grey stuff.
So 74 there is Holland, and he's now behind Smiles and Hansey as well. And he's at the back of the top 6 now, with Matt Hallam trying to get back into the top 6. Grid for the second race here is based on the result of this one. The result for race 3 is based on the result of race 2, but with the top 10 or 6, 7, 8, 9 or 10 reversed, depending on which ball's drawn out of the bag. 58.930 seconds for Smiles. He's still got the best lap of the race. Here comes the 40 car of Hansey. He's being attacked now by Smiles, who really is looking to get towards a podium position here. He's only got 6.5 minutes left to go, and he's got to get past Hansey at one more car, but he's looking pretty determined, Marcus.
Yeah, he's looking as though he's got plenty of talent in there, and he's certainly sticking at his task very, very neatly. And got to be patient in these kind of races. The cars are so evenly matched, you make one lunge and it goes slightly awry and you suddenly drop a couple of places. So it's all about the long game.
6 minutes left in this race. There's Pearce in second place, number 70.
It's come down.
Yeah, it has by about 0.4 per second on that lap, actually. Oak Richardson to Michael Pearce, possibly with traffic coming into play. But Chesno is not too far behind either. He made up a couple of seconds. Here's the battle there between Hansey and Smiles has made it through on the inside as they are lapping slower cars as well for an added level of difficulty. He's got well stuck in. You can see that from the black tyre mark on the driver's side of his car there, but he's made it through now to 4th place ahead of Hansey.
A little souvenir, yeah. Now he's taking the narrow line just to try to head off his rivals through Surtees. Takes the curb on the inside, keeps the power on, keeps it nice and smooth, which you need to do. And the others now trying to slipstream themselves up the inside. Diving to the outside is the red car. Has he got his nose through? He hasn't. He had his bumper ahead, but lost out territorially going into paddock. Sort of phalanx of cars spread out everywhere. 74, Holland.
Wide there was Smiles. Can he cling on here?
That was a little bit scruffy, wasn't it? And that might cost him.
And now he's got getting the back of the car, stepping out, and it will cost him, I think, because Hansi's going to be on the inside line for Surtees. He's going to go back through.
Yeah, has he overheated the rear tyres, I wonder? They're just not gripping anymore.
Yeah, possibly he's cooked them as he's trying to get back through the field, and now he's got Holland getting almost into the back of him. Holland opening the door for Hallam as well. So 4th, 5th, 6th and 7th together here with 4 minutes of the race left to go.
He's got fastest lap at the moment to show for it.
Here comes Smiles.
Not anymore, because Richardson's just nabbed it.
Yeah, but Smiles is getting the place back. Is he into Paddock Hill Bend? You can see them on screen now. They're absolutely together. There's Richardson and Pearce and Chesney together. And here are the two of them side by side for 4th, taking very different lines. Oh, and Hans is massively out of shape. That was all on his own as well. There was no contact, and he's lost two more places there to both Holland and to Hallam as he sorts that out. So a mistake from Hansi. It Smiles back through to 4th, and Hansi down to 7th.
There they are, the 4th, 5th, 6th and 7th. 44 is Hallam. Matt Hallam was sometimes Formula Ford man. A different technique driving one of these to the Formula Ford. But equally enjoyable, I'm sure. And there's the battle for the lead. It's getting tighter. 3 minutes to go.
Certainly is. So 17 Oak Richardson, God Centre Managing Director from Buckingham, and Michael Pearce from Rugby, number 70, 52-year-old. Last year was racing with his son Shay, who beat him to 3rd place, or beat him to 2nd place. Michael took 3rd at Donington in the final meeting of the season. But you sense this race not over yet. 2.5 minutes to go. Oak Richardson going to have to defend hard here from Pearce and Chesno for the final few laps. Probably going to be 3 more laps at the end of this.
What's Chesno's background, Ian?
He's raced in MX5s before, not this championship. I think just in Mark 1s, but I've not been aware of his name towards the sharp end of anything too recently. I don't know if he's had a little bit of time out and returning. So they've gone on to their, what I think will be penultimate lap. Richardson, Pearce and Chesno, separated by 7/10 of a second. There's about 4.2 seconds then back to Holland, who's in 4th position and heading the next group, because he's got ahead of Ben Smiles now. Didn't see how that happened, but Smiles has lost out to the red car of his teammate, Holland. That was off camera. Jordan Johnson, I noticed, is the best lap of the race now, 58.811 in 15th position, number 92. It must have been him that was off in the gravel trap on the first lap at Paddock Hill Bend, and there's another one off in the gravel trap, not at Paddock Hill Bend though, and couldn't quite spot the number on that, but it's one of the novice drivers who's pulled gravel all the way onto the circuit. I'll take an extra hazard for the final lap or so. Leading cars go over the line again with just over a minute to go, so they might actually get 2 more laps out of this. The lap here is 58, 59 seconds, something like that.
It's a tricky moment for Oak Richardson, the race leader, because he's had to take his time to get past the lapped car, and that's allowed Pearce right back onto his rear bumper in the emerald green car. Chesno now has lunged past the slower car into Graham Hill Bend as well, and there's lots of traffic for the leaders to deal with less than half a minute to go on the clock.
Yeah, probably going to get 1 more lap out of this.
This could be a fumble job, couldn't it?
It could. One of the slow cars is through the gravel as well, has got back on. That adds to the complexity of the situation.
I think Chesno's got a bit of a run on them as well, coming out of that as a result. And there they are. They've never been this close over the line, that's for sure. And they go on to the last lap. Chesno comes up the outside. He's got 2 inside him. Can he get back across to the apex? I don't think he can. 3 abreast through Paddock Hill Bend. Chesno trying to brave it out on the outside.
In fact, I think that's not... Yeah, there's Chesno now, so he's a little bit further back, isn't he, the 105? Got a similar liveried car.
Got through, but yeah, amazing.
So it's Richardson and Pearce then that are going to be disputing this. It's still Richardson ahead as they come through. There's another back marker that's ahead of them, I can see, as we're watching cars a little bit further back down the order. Holland here are the 2 leaders, though. They're going past that car, which I think is the 666 car of Nigel Holland, who's a little bit off the pace. Looks like Richardson's done enough here. Making their way through the final corner then onto the Brabham Straight towards the checker flag. It's actually the biggest lead is at all race, I think, Oak Richardson. He crosses the line to win by 1.019 seconds. Second is Pearce, third is Chesno. Holland is fourth. He got the gap down to Chesno to 1.4 seconds in the end with shenanigans on the last few laps. Smiles was fifth, Hansi sixth, Hallam seventh, Bailey seventh, Bailey ninth, Bailey eighth, Crozier ninth, and Lovett 10th is the order in which they came home. But a busy race, lots of traffic coming into play as well.
Right at the very end, wasn't it? The last couple of laps suddenly went really wild.
Yeah, it got a little bit scrappy, as it was for some drivers all the way through. We saw Smiles make that very poor start, but come back briefly to 4th place, dropping to 5th in the end. But he'll have learned something useful from that. His first race in MX5s, having switched from the Junior Saloon car, the Saxo-based series.
Johnson, that 58.811, ended up as the fastest lap on lap 11.
Indeed. So let's take a look at the results then of that 5 Club MX5 Cup race. 16 laps completed for the winner, number 17, Oak Richardson, and he finished 1.019 seconds ahead of number 70, Michael Pearce. Third was 105, Roger Chesno. Fourth was 74, Tom Holland. Fifth, number 46, Ben Smiles. Then Ben Hansi in number 40. Matt Hallam was 7th in number 44. Not too far ahead in the end of Andy Bailey, number 95. 848 Matthew Crozier was 9th, and Chris Lovett, number 62, completed the top 10 ahead of Sam Gormer, Scott Lawrence, Ian Tomlinson, and Zolly Shabai. 15th place was number 92, the champion from 2 years ago, Jordan Johnson, after his off at the beginning of that race. Kevin Dengate, Amy Worthington, Jack Lawrence, Mary Barnard, and Matt Short completed the top 20 ahead of Robinson, Quatch T, Moody, Ward, Beale, Robinson, and Mary's father, Paul Barnard, in 27th. And then we've got one car that stopped on the way back in. 28 was Jeremy Rivers, Flattery, number 75, ahead of Aidan Wardley, Philip Barrett, Neil Burrows, Glenn Crook, Isabel Burrows, and Nigel Holland. And I think the only car that didn't get to the checker flag was 666, which was Holland. The car that had stopped there was number 23, which was Martina Ward at her local circuit here. She's from Staplehurst, not too far away, but she'll make it to the pit lane belatedly. Talking of the pit lane, we're going to head down there now, and we'll hear from our top 3 drivers in the MX5s with Josh Barrett.
So down here after the first 5 Club Racing MX5 Cup race of the season, a win for Oak Richardson. Well done, Oak. A great way to start the season. Sort of some new competitors to race against with your usual competitors a bit further down today.
Yeah, mate, that was a fun race. The back markers were not fun,
yes,
but that was a fun race. I enjoyed that.
It's a sort of a thing that happened here at Brown Hatch, but not really anywhere else where you catch the back markers. You had a lot right at the end.
Oh my God, yes. I've got dents all down the side of my car from back markers, but we'll gloss over that. That was fun. That was fun.
And a first win of the year, and more to come, I'm sure you're hoping.
I hope so. All should be good.
And sort of the whole race, you had Michael right on your bumper.
Mike kept me very honest. Mike's a quick peddler, and he just gets quicker and quicker each year. We were a bit fortunate with where people qualified, but still had the pace. Not overly happy with how the things with the championship and the power's gone for this weekend so far, because half the cars have been dynoed, half haven't, but that needs sorting out. Other than that, great start to the year.
Hey, well done on the win, Oak. In second place was Mike Pearce. Mike, second place, a great start to the season and being right involved in the battle for the win.
Yeah, it was a good race. A few issues with back markers towards the end. Trying to catch Oak's difficult. A couple of times I caught it, I just didn't have enough to get past him. Thought there might have been a chance towards the end with the back markers in the way, but I would just rather take the second place rather than risk it all.
Of course, there's 2 races to come tomorrow where you can get that top spot.
So looking forward to those. Hopefully the weather's going to be the same. I don't like the wet.
I think it's be dry. It might be not quite as hot, but it's be dry, I think.
No, that's good. So I'm quite happy about that. And obviously we've got the reverse grid final race, so that could be free for all at that point, particularly with some of the slow cars and the back markers in there, because the short circuit like this, it really does make it a bit of a challenge to get through them.
But it's interesting, isn't it? This season we've got some new people come in, people who have won in the past, not high up to date, so it's a really intriguing season ahead, I think.
Yes, it has been interesting. I mean, obviously people have been dusting their cars off over the winter, coming out yesterday, 1 or 2 of us. I tried to do a bit of testing because being an old guy, I try to have to remember which way the track goes. And a few people who have turned up and got a few issues, I think. But I have no doubt they'll sort it over the weekend. There's 2 more races for that to happen. There'll be some fettling going on the cars, I think, overnight.
Well done in the second position.
Thank you.
Let's have a word with Roger, who was third. Roger, well done on your third position. I think your first time out in the championship as well?
No. This is my first time racing for 7 years.
Oh, right.
But
Okay.
way back when, I have actually been with 5 Club in the past. So, no, really happy. Rusty, a lot older. But, yeah, it went well.
Well, if that's your first race in 7 years on the podium, that's a good way to come back.
Yeah, happy. These guys were just that little bit too quick, and I was just happy with third, to be honest. That's I'm not pushing harder at this stage.
Well, you're right with them, so there's not too much more to come, I guess.
I'm honest, but it wasn't enough to try and make a play for it.
Yeah.
But no, third, happy.
I guess around here is not the easiest track to pass, or not too many long straights.
No, we did have the advantage. I think there was a bit of a gap between us and back, so we could afford to do a bit of racing, but there just wasn't enough, speed differential between us. We were all pretty much there or thereabouts, so no, happy.
Actually, I take you enjoy being back.
Yes, yeah, no damage. Interesting coming through some of the back markers and trying to come through the pack, because that got a little bit wild in a few spots, but we all made it through, luckily. A little bit of sideways action for some people, but no.
I guess that's the thing with a championship like this, where you've got lots of new drivers, especially first weekend of the year.
First weekend, absolutely. I'm thoroughly amazed. Nobody's in the gravel.
Yes.
Everything seems to have all gone well.
Yeah.
So, no, happy. This is what we want from 5 Club is good, clean, honest racing.
Yeah. And no safety cars, so that was good.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well done to the 3 of them, then the top 3 in the 5 Club Racing MX5 Cup.